So for this example, I will be using the data set with houses sold in Ames, Iowa. So if you click here on the data editor, its title is dataset Ames houses, and you can access it through the link in the video description. In the previous two videos, we checked how to run a simple OLS linear regression in Stata, right? It's using command reg, and we also checked how to predict out and in sample, and also how to check how the scatter plot works. So we continue to use the data from Ames houses sold in Iowa, and of course there are more interesting examples which you can try to do with this regression. In principle, I'm working with regressions for 20 years, and every month you learn some new trick. So a couple of easy ones. So for example, let's say you want to run a regression limiting the sample. So in my case, I included this year sold, right, which is when the house was sold. And you see that you remember that in 2008 we had global financial recession started. So like, for example, what you can do for your analysis, you can compare how prices of houses differ between, for example, 2008 and after 2008. And one way to do that is just to include the conditional statement, like if, for example. And if I run this model without a conditional statement, you can observe, for example, that there are 25 observations, right, in this house. So obviously, and also look at the adjusted R squared, it's about, again, 69% here. But you can run it now for a smaller subsample to see what happens. Let's do that. So again, I want to limit my sample only to houses before global financial recession 2008. So if I run it now, you observe that my sample is now much smaller, 1315, right? It's like I lost more than half of the sample. But at the same time, my R squared actually is not that much different. And you can check that in principle coefficients here in these two models are quite similar, right? So you have like about $2 for lot area and about $44,000 increase. Again, it's a predicted increase in the sale price if overall quality increases by 1. And of course, we understand that we are talking here on average. It does not mean that for every single house, increase in overall quality by 1 will lead to increase in the price by $44,000. And of course, again, remember that we don't fully explain the model, right? So we still have about 29% of variation unexplained. And, in my empirical work, I always apply robust standard errors, right? Because robust standard errors, they guarantee that your results are robust to certain misspecification of the regression model. And again, it's very easy to do. In Stata, you just put a comma here and add this robust option, right? So if you run it here, you need to check your coefficients here, and you need to compare it to your original model. So if you, for example, run it without this option, let's run it just regression without this option, then you can see that coefficients are exactly the same, right? So if you compare, for example, a lot area, right, and if you compare lot area in the model without robust standard errors here, the coefficients are the same. But what will change here standard errors will be different. And observe, for example, that without robust standard errors, coefficients, they have much higher t-statistics, right? But with the robust standard errors, you actually have less evidence of statistical significance. Again, it's still statistical significant, right? Because in both cases, they are in excess of 2, right? Of this absolute value of 2. But if you were on the margin, for example, if the statistics was, 2.5, for example, and then you apply robust standard errors, you sometimes may observe that the coefficient is no longer significant. But of course, it's not a problem because we are looking for the truth, right? We are not trying to sort of pick up the best results, right? But we have just to check it. So thank you. And of course, check the first two videos for additional details on how to run regression and how to make predictions. And thank you. To practice these and many additional Stata tools, please check out the description for a coupon code to my new course, Jumpstart Stata in 2 hours. Thank you.